Welcome back to Smile Sessions, the podcast where we explore ways to live healthier, happier, and more fulfilling lives. I'm Cristina Perri, and today's episode is one I truly believe needs to be heard. We all go through a tough time. Life has a way of testing us, stretching us, and sometimes even breaking us. But for so many of us, when things get difficult, our first instinct is to shrink, hide, keep it all inside. And sometimes that silence, it can be dangerous. It can be isolating. It can make us feel like we're the only ones struggling. What if I told you that silence can be just as dangerous as the pain itself? That the things we don't say can hurt us just as much as the things we do. Today, we're going to dive into something so many people struggle with: why we stay quiet in our pain, and why healing out loud can change everything, and practical ways to do it in a way that feels right for you. If you've ever felt alone in your struggles, or if you've convinced yourself that your pain isn't worth sharing or that anyone would understand, you are exactly who this episode is for. Let's start with a question. Why do we stay silent when we're hurting? Maybe it's because we don't want to burden others. Maybe we're afraid of being judged. Maybe we've been taught that being strong means holding it all together even when it feels like we're falling apart. I know this feeling all too well. I remember a time when I was struggling, and instead of reaching out, I just shut down. I convinced myself that no one wanted to hear about my problems. I told myself other people have it worse and that I should just deal with it on my own. So I did. Or at least I tried to. The more I kept it inside, the heavier it got. And the truth is, silence almost swallowed me whole. I know I'm not alone in that. Studies show that suppressing emotions doesn't make them go away. It just pushes them deeper, where they fester and grow. And then they turn into anxiety, depression, or even physical illness. Our bodies carry the weight of our unspoken pain. We were never meant to hold it all in. Think about the last time that you were struggling. Did you tell anyone, or did you stay quiet? Now ask yourself, why? Why do we do it? Maybe we were raised in a culture that says, don't cry, be strong, suffering in silence is a virtue. Maybe we've been burned before, opened up to the wrong person and got shut down, dismissed, or made to feel small. Maybe we just don't know how to put our pain into words. How do you even begin to describe something that feels so big and so overwhelming? Here's what I need you to know. Your pain is real and it deserves to be acknowledged. You don't have to suffer in silence. And that brings me to my next point. What happens when we finally let ourselves heal out loud? When I say heal loudly, I don't mean shouting your problems from the rooftops. Healing loudly doesn't mean broadcasting your problems to the world or sharing every detail of your struggles with just anyone. What it means is giving yourself permission to be seen in your healing. It means breaking the silence, whether it's through talking, writing, creating, or simply allowing yourself to feel. Here's something fascinating. Research shows that talking about our struggles whether in therapy, in a journal, or even with a trusted friend, can actually help reduce stress and improve your mental health. When we speak our truth, we take away the power that it has to control us. And when we name our pain, we begin to loosen its grip on our hearts. One person who embodies this idea of healing loudly is Selena Gomez, about her struggles with mental health, lupus, and self-acceptance. She utilizes her platform to discuss issues like vulnerability and healing. Through the documentary My Mind and Me and her work with the Rare Impact Fund, she's inspired so many people to embrace their own healing journeys. And she reminds us that when we speak openly about our struggles, we don't just heal ourselves, we give others permission to heal too. And honestly, this was one way of healing out loud for me. In season 1, I shared my own story of grief and how I turned one of my most painful times in my life into an opportunity to build this vibrant community. And what I found was that the more I spoke about my pain, the more others felt safe to share theirs. And that is the power of healing out loud. Did you know that people who regularly suppress their emotions are at a higher risk of developing heart disease and high blood pressure? Our emotions don't just disappear when we ignore them. They show up in our bodies. So now you're thinking, all right, I get it, but how do I actually do this? Healing loudly doesn't mean oversharing with just anyone or reliving trauma in a way that feels unsafe. It means finding a safe and healthy way to express yourself. And that looks different for everyone. Here are a few ways that you can start. Talk to someone you trust, whether it's a friend, therapist, a mentor, or a support group. Sharing your truth with someone who will hold space for you can lighten the weight on your heart. Write it out. Journaling, poetry, letters you never sent. Writing is a powerful tool for self-reflection and emotional release. Express through creativity, art, music, dance, photography. Whatever allows you to translate your emotions into something outside of yourself. Sometimes, when words fail, creativity speaks. Use social media mindfully. If you feel called to share your journey publicly, do it in a way that empowers you and not in a way that's draining. Remember, healing loudly is about you first. Set boundaries. Healing loudly doesn't mean explaining yourself to everyone. It means honoring your truth in a way that feels right for you. Not everyone deserves access to your story, and that's okay. Here's a challenge for you. This week, try one small act of healing out loud. Maybe it's having a conversation, writing in your journal, or simply saying, I'm not okay when someone asks how you're doing. See how it feels. Notice what shifts inside you. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Silence can be heavy, but your voice is powerful. You don't have to go through this alone. Healing loudly doesn't just help you, it helps others know they can heal too. So here's my question for you. What's one way you can start healing out loud today? Send me a message, share your thoughts on social media, or simply reflect on it in your own heart. But don't stay silent. We need you here, and your story matters. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode of Smile Sessions. Join in next week when we discuss a problem that so many of us face: freezing up under pressure, why this happens, and more importantly, how you can train your brain to stay calm and clear-headed even in high-pressure situations. Until next time, keep smiling and keep healing. I'm Cristina Perri, and this has been another session for your soul.